we're ready for this doorway. It's meeting up to a faux leather floor that was featured on my blog earlier. And there's a little bit of a lip here from the change in subfloor. I'd like to get away without a threshold. I don't know if it'll work or not. What I did was I cut it about an inch longer than it needed to be so I could tuck under the raw edges. And I pressed it really good. And I'm gonna run a bead of hot glue. I'm gonna try hot glue. If it doesn't hold, I can always nail a commercial threshold piece over that. But let's go for it. Okay, it's going to stick really good for now. Only time will tell if it will hold up to high traffic. Of course, putting the polyurethane over the seam is going to help it too. But anyway, that's one option. Another option I thought about, but I just didn't have the materials on hand, was putting a piece of upholstery tack in there with the nails already in it. It would slide into that fold with the nails down, and then you just hammer it in place. That probably would have been the thing to do, but I didn't want to wait to order it. Okay, the whole floor is stapled down now, except for this little part of the closet. There was about 18 inches here where the tarp was just too short. I love that the seam's going to be hidden in here, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want it to be nice and smooth and cleanable. So what I've done is I've cut a piece that will fit in this area, and it's about an inch bigger than I need. And there is, you can kind of see a little bumpy part here from the original hem in the tarp. And I'm taking my carpenter's pencil and I'm going to draw right along the inside part of that bump. There's a ridge there, so I can almost just follow right along next to it. This is going to be my staple line when I go to put this in place. And I've got it pushed back all the way where it's going to be when it ends up. Whoop, that won't show. It's kind of wanting to move on me here. Okay, so I'm going to flip this around. So it goes this direction, and I'm going to line that line I just drew up with that same ridge right along here where the seam, where that stitching is. I'm going to make sure that the sides are kind of in place where I want them to be. Then I'm going to take my stapler and I'm going to staple this in place right along that ridge. Alright, I'm out, but I want those to be really, really flush. So I'm going to grab my hammer and hammer them in. I have all the staples down in a row. I stapled these a whole lot closer together than I did around the perimeter of the room. This is going to be instead of almost like a sewing line. And now that I have this stapled down, I'm going to flip the fabric over the other direction, and I'm going to pull it tight to stretch it and tuck it under and go ahead and staple it around the way I did the rest of the room. Okay, as soon as I get this done, I'm going to give the room one final vacuum, and I'm going to take painter's tape and go around my baseboards, and then I'll come back and start polyurethaning and let you see that process. The entire floor is ready now for a coat of polyurethane, and I want you to notice on the can what I'm using. I'm using Min-Wax super fast drying polyurethane for floors, and I chose the satin finish. It is not as durable as the glossy, but I wanted more of a matte finish to let the natural weave shine through on this floor. So I have a natural bristle brush, which is perfect since this is an oil-based formula. I went ahead and bought the Purdy brand brushes because they last really, really long, and so I'm going to take the time to wash this one out. If you saw my blog post on the leather floor, you'll notice that I used a sponge brush, and it broke down with the product on it and didn't last very long. It was kind of frustrating for me, so I'm trying this time. And it's using a lot more product than the paper floor did because this fabric is so absorbent. But it's going to absorb this polyurethane right in between the fibers. It's going to create a waterproof finish. The nice thing about this is it will strengthen the fabric, so as long as I have the polyurethane here, the fabric's not going to tear a hole. And it will also be washable, so I can mop it, or I prefer to use a spray bottle with vinegar and water and just a rag to come and do spot cleaning. So this will be a beautiful floor that I hope will last us between 5 and 8 years when we can afford to put carpet in. I'm going to do one coat now, and I'm going to let it dry while I run some errands. In about 4 or 5 hours, I'll come back and do another coat this evening. And then tomorrow I'll try to put 2 or 3 more coats on. If this was a really wet room, like a bathroom or a kitchen, I would be putting 7 coats of poly on the floor. Since I really don't expect this floor to be wet, they're not allowed to eat or drink in here, I'm guessing that 4 or 5 coats is going to be perfect. The floor is finished. It has cured for 7 days, and we're getting ready to move in furniture. But before we cover it up, I wanted you to see the finished product. Now, this was the very first time I've tried anything like this, and there's some things I would do differently. I love the color over here by the windows. Let's see if Heidi can get a close-up here by the vent, where it's just you can really see the canvasy texture and all the different colors of the tweed going together. And then as you move across the floor, there's a stripe through the middle that turned a yellow color, and it's speckly, and I'm really not sure what happened at all. And so what I would do differently next time is I would use the same Elmer's glue and water mixture that I used to put down my paper floor, which was, if you didn't see that post, it was 3 parts of water to 1 part Elmer's glue. And then I would have soaked the whole thing with that and then let it dry. I think that would do 2 things. I think that would give me a uniform color for my floor when I polyurethaned it. And I also think that it would help take up some of the absorptive properties of the canvas, because you're looking at 2.5 gallons of polyurethane on the floor. Where in the bathrooms, I mean, 1/4 gallon, and I had 7 coats down, and I only have 2 coats down on this floor. And so I would do both of those things differently, but for now, it is clean, it is washable, it's a beautiful color, and once we get our small area rug down and our furniture in, it's going to look fantastic.